program, wants to expand access to high-caliber computer science prep courses, and it focuses on students in lower-income communities and in states that are making computer science education a priority. The idea?
Help them build the skills that they need in order to continue in computer science and then hopefully to engage in a career that integrates technology into whatever field they choose to pursue.
Ardeen Williams is Amazon's Vice President of People Operations. A San Francisco startup that had tried to reshape the business of underwriting bond deals for U.S. cities has fired the executive at the center of a racial discrimination lawsuit. The company's CEO says, however, John Crossman's termination was part of a broader reduction in headcount, not because of the lawsuit brought by a former banker who had complained about the company's racially and sexually hostile environment. And that's your Bloomberg Urban Report. I'm Joan Doniger.
Is adore you
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Broadcasting live from a secret location. Nathan Ivey in the air chair. Good morning to you. Thank you for finding the show. Now, my plan is to put a stream up on Facebook. You can actually look inside the show, check out the video element of the show. It's up on Facebook. Matter of fact, we're going to go live and let you check out the live feed here in just about 10 seconds. So if throughout the day you want to jump over on YouTube and or on Facebook and check it out, you certainly can. What up, everybody? Nathan Ivey with you. There it is. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? 513-873-7134. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get straight into it, shall we? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back. All right, so within the last 24 hours, we've had some movement in the force. And right now, there's a lot of energy in the country around trying to address something that scares the hell out of a lot of people. And that is the fact that you've got some psycho sickos out there. You might be in a public space and they might open fire on you. This thing is far more prevalent than we are comfortable talking about. It happened in Cincinnati a year ago, happened in Kentucky. Well, Kentucky wasn't like really a mass shooting. Only 2 people got killed, 2 black people who were targeted by a white supremacist. They're in the damn grocery store. This guy comes in with a weapon. What do you do? What do you do? 513-873-7134 this morning. I want to talk about a lot of different stuff. I want to get your opinion on everything that's going on and even more. Might be some things that are not on your radar screen that you hear me talk about this morning. And if you want to share your thoughts, you can do so in a couple of ways. Like one way you can do so is to call the number that's scrolling on the screen right now, 513-873-7134. That's an easy way of doing it. That's if you want to, amplify your voice. Some folks like to call in. They like to talk. If you like to just send a comment, you can do so as well. All you got to do is just follow the link from nathanivey.com. It'll take you straight to my Spreaker page and you can listen to the audio if that is what you like. If you're on Twitter, you can check out the stream. And listen, like I said, it's a video, but that doesn't mean you have to watch it. You can just turn up the audio. It's audio and video. Good morning to you. So this morning, I want to talk about numerous things, including Mike DeWine's 17-point plan. Mike DeWine is a Republican, and he has a plan, a 17-point plan that he offered within the last 24 hours that will possibly address the danger here in Ohio. And as an Ohioan, I'm glad to hear we got something. He says it's the right thing to do. A gunman killed 9 people, including his own sister. This morning, I heard a news anchor guy say that there's no evidence that this is racially motivated. Is that true? Are you satisfied with the media coverage? I want to run through this real quick. Here's DeWine's proposal. safety protection orders. Meaning that if your family or someone close to you recognizes that you're exhibiting certain signs, like you might grab a gun and kill a lot of people, then basically, all your firearms could be removed from your ability to get them. They'll take your guns from you because you're deemed a mental health risk. I like the concept of it, but in practicality, is this something that could be abused? Something to think about. 2, increase access to inpatient psychiatric care. Well, that just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? That makes a lot of sense. I agree with that. Early intervention. He was talking about the suicide rates among young people, which is alarming, very alarming. You're 14 and you want to kill yourself. You're 11. You don't want to live no more. You're 13 and life is too excruciating for you. He's right about that. I would take it a step further and say that if we're doing like mental health, early intervention with young people, what are we doing in our schools? What are the public schools doing? Are the public schools ready for what's about to happen when school opens in less than 2 weeks here in Ohio? Here in Cincinnati, school opens in 2 weeks. There's different times, different school systems and things like that. But generally speaking, Cincinnati Public Schools opens within 2 weeks, August the 19th. What are your children going to? What kind of environment are your children walking into? Something to think about. He also talked about student access to mental health professionals, which I think is very important. Identifying risk factors, background checks. This is something that some of the Second Amendment folks just don't like. Mike DeWine asked the Ohio General Assembly to pass a law that requires background checks for all firearm sales in the state of Ohio. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Should you have to get a background check in order to get a weapon in the United States, in Ohio? Is that somehow an impediment to exercising your Second Amendment rights? I don't know. You tell me. 513-873-7134. You start talking about background checks, man. These Republicans lose their damn mind. Oh, the British are coming. Oh, my gun? Yeah, your gun, fool. Give it up. It's enough of that. Or maybe not. Or maybe not. I know there's a lot of opinions on there on this particular issues. He also talked a lot about penalties, tougher penalties for violent felons, which is the same old talk. This was a part of the presentation that I was less into, right? This was a part of the 17-point plan that I was less into. And it's the whole lock them up. We got to get tougher. You commit a crime with a gun, we're going to get tougher on you. Okay. And we already know that ain't going to stop a damn thing. Because nobody thinks they're going to get caught. It's not going to stop a damn thing. Everybody knows it. We got an early call. Let's take it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, brother Ivy? My main man. What's the word?
What up, brother Powell?
It's funny, man, because when you got friends in D.C., you always get the answer, such as myself. Nathan, nobody's talking about the NRA, man. And you already know what happens when we've been here a million times. The first thing nationwide they cut with any budget is social services. You know that. They build a stadium, they build this, they build that, but they cut social services. Now, what program is over the mental ill system nationwide? Social services. Nathan, how much does a man or woman, a social worker make? It's more than a teacher. Yet they got 30, you get 30-some people in 3 hours. You know the system. There's no money in it. So how does he or she leave school and go lead other community and go to college for all of the years to get a degree in social work? You say, Pal, what does this got to do with anything? Every time you talk about the mental illness system, where does the system go to? It's economics. You just bring out the schools with he ain't the first one. Bush just talked about the homicides and how we're going to deal with guns. Everybody does that. But where's the money at? It's the resources. You just bought the school system. They got rid of the nurses and the psychiatrists. We all had that when we was in school because it's always a budget. So where's the money going to come from? And every time you look up, what do they cut? It's social services. The NRA making money off this, brother. They're going to keep making money off guns. It's all. How long do you think, Nate, to be honest, because you in the media, is this story going to be alive, or how we say in rotation? Be honest. How long do you think it's going to last before we talk about something else?
I'd say about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks.
Come on, and that's what they saying in D.C. It's a hands. Come on, man. You know this. But when they run for office, and you're going to learn because I'm going to definitely get more on the game. When you running for office, you got to say certain things, Nathan. You know this. But then guess what? Behind closed doors, they're going to give you some money. Now, weapons and the NRA is the number 3 biggest thing going in D.C. Number 1 is LGBTQ. Number 2 is the Jewish community. Number 3, the NRA. So what happens when all this stuff happens? People begin to buy more guns. You know that. Because now, look, they sell them everywhere now. Come on, don't go to school now unless you got a gun. Don't go without a gun.
Right,
That's how the game goes.
Right.
And you know this. So all we got to do, Nathan, and you know this, is follow the money. If you want to know, I tell everybody every day, my people have yet to learn. It's not a social system no longer. It's not political. It's economics. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to see the ones who already got kids, already got money. They're going to school. They're going to be safe. He's going to have a body. You're going to see all the security. Then you're going to see the poor little kids out here, people like myself. I ain't going to say what level you on economically, but you're going to have to spend more money to keep things safer. It's a business, y'all, and that's the sad part of this. There's people who don't have to worry about this thing, and there's people who are influential. They're ready. They can afford to be ready. But people are going to be buying more guns, and the NRA going, there they go. You'll see all this. We had this plan 1,000,000 times, Nathan. Trust me. Psychological evaluation. Put more security. Hire more police. It's all economics. And what happens? The guy who has dealt with anything mental illness, he gonna go into a place where it's a whole bunch of people working. The psychiatrist ain't making no money. He gonna give you some medicine. Insurance, you cannot afford to keep that system going. You know how much it costs to keep somebody in a system for mental illness? They close all the places already now. Come on, man, it's budget, and that's all gonna happen. We done heard this 1,000,000 times. There ain't no money to put in this, but there's money to go to war, for people on the moon. They're not going to do it, y'all. Keep watching. You'll see. It's going to happen again. We're going to be talking about something else, another athlete, another celebrity, somebody going to have a baby. That's just how the game goes. Sad truth, I'm telling y'all. It's all money.
You said somebody going to have a baby, huh? You said another athlete, another celebrity.
Come on.
R. Kelly, another
Nathan,
victim from R. Kelly's going to come forward.
Come on, Nathan. How many times have we been through this, brother? Nathan, come on, man. What's it, like 200 something already? Man, come on, man. You know what's going to happen.
So what do we do, man? I mean, do we just say, hey, we've been here before, it's not going to work, or do we use this as an opportunity to try to move something forward?
You're going to learn this. When I get you an insight, you're going to be like, dang, he was telling me something. You got to follow where the money goes. Tracy Hunter, money go. Every big issue. The stadium, money go. What's going on? Pal, where does the money? You want to know who a person's heart? Look at their budget. Look at where they put the money at. And I'm telling you, everybody on the side of my voice that's poor, or especially a social worker or a psychiatrist, look at where the money goes. It's not going to the school nurses to help their little brother or sister who can't afford health care. It's not going to the psychiatrists that we all had in our school system. The first thing they cut is the budget. It's social services. And that's what pays for all of it. So here go another screen of him talking. He ain't the only one. Bush, and I mean, they all talked about it. We all had this for everybody. Where did they put the resources? So you got to ask yourself, with our homicides in Cincinnati, where the resources going? They announced they're going to open rec centers. Ain't one of them got open yet. Come on, y'all. I'm going to put all the centers. We're going to continue to go at nighttime.
The rec centers haven't opened yet?
Where is it? What night do you go in there?
I haven't gone over there any nights.
Nathan, come on, Nathan. Where is that? We got all this. It's a smoke. If you, Nathan, your mother give you a list. She say, I want you to go specifically. I always check never some be specific. Your mother give you a list. She say, Nathan, I want you to go to the store and give me some milk, some cheese, some bread. She give you the money. What do you come back with?
Some milk and cheese and bread.
Come on, everything on mother's list. Because if you didn't tell mother's list, somebody goes. And if you don't come back with, if you go back some bubble gum, if you go back anything,
it's a wrap. If you do that, it's a wrap for you. You gonna have a bad weekend.
Come, you say it again. So you naturally know once we say something, if you don't do nothing with it, mama gonna be like, guess what? I know ain't nothing wrong with you. Why should you with the letter? So it's a head fake. You know basketball. I'm telling you, these things are head fakes. They political head fake. Okay, so y'all care, but ain't nothing. He's still gonna play golf. He gonna be in it. He gonna keep the Secret Service, but he care about everybody else. Come on, man, it's a head fake. That's how this thing works, and you know that being in media, it's gonna be something else next week. What will say? Three more weeks because we already had it in schools. We already had it at the airport. We had it so many times. So what is the solution? Put the resources there. And that's not going to happen. Trust me, it's going to be more money. Same game, different name.
Wow.
Pleasure talking with you as always.
As my pleasure, man. Take it easy.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, that's Brother Powell checking in. He says it's a political head fake. And it's hard to disagree with the brother. It really is. Okay, for sure. Getting a message from Jocelyn if you're listening. Yeah, for sure. Sorry about that. Well, let's make that happen. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. If you want to call in, you can use that number. Talking about the governor of Ohio, he's got a 17-point plan on how to address the gun violence sparked, I'm sure, by the tragic shooting that happened in Dayton, Ohio. And among other things, he's talking about background checks. He's talking about monitoring social media. He's talking about all the things that people should be talking about. But will the largely very, very Republican General Assembly here in Ohio, will they get behind it? See, here's where you can put it squarely in the responsibility of the Republican Party, because they're running things. The Republican Party runs the state of Ohio. Okay? They got a majority. What's the use of having a majority if when there's a crisis to your constituents, you don't do anything about it? So this is on them. This is their watch. You know, the Republican Party wanted to take over Ohio. You took over Ohio. Now what? You know, what are you going to do with it? And what are you going to do about it? And this is essentially being called a red flag law. And every part of it makes sense to me. Almost. I mean, there's a couple things I'm like, I could go back and forth on, but for the most part, I feel like, it's pretty on point. For the most part, 513-873-7134. I think it's junior time. Come on in. Yes, son. How are you?
Can we go to the zoo and go to the Cincinnati
Just say
aquarium?
Yes, we can go to the aquarium again. Say good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Have a great day.
Good morning.
Okay. They can see you too. See, look.
How?
See yourself. Okay, that's great. See you later. He's out. That's the star of the show right there. He's gone. It's all down here after this. That's hilarious. He's intrigued by all these gadgets he sees his dad's playing with, messing with. He can't wait to come in here and do the same thing. So we're talking about Mike DeWine. He wants Ohio to require background checks for all firearms. Yeah, if that happens, Ohio will become the 12th state to require universal background checks for firearm sales. Currently, there's a gun control group called Ohioans for Gun Safety, and they're currently collecting signatures to force state lawmakers to consider near universal background checks. And again, this is a so-called red flag law, and I think that makes sense. We do need a red flag law. It's not really about taking away every American's ability to get a gun. And we understand that there's nothing that you can really do about it. When I hear politicians say things like, well, if we did this, it wouldn't stop what just happened. Yes, correct. Maybe you're right about that. But there's nothing we can do about what's already been done, right? Any policy measure is about the future. It's about preventing the next catastrophe or tragic mass shooting. So it's a bit dishonest intellectually when I hear politicians make that point, like, oh, if this was in place, it wouldn't have done anything at all. Well, how do we know? And what about the unforeseen circumstances? I'm all for universal background checks. As a law-abiding Ohioan, I don't have a problem with getting a background check before I purchase a firearm. I have a problem with that. I don't see it as an impediment. I see it as a step and a hurdle. But as someone who is woke, who can read the news and assess that this is an issue, to me, that's a small measure In terms of, so my individual civil liberties and my ability to purchase a gun, it might change. So rather than me being able to go in and 3 days later walk out, it might take a week or two. Okay. You might get a background check that comes back. They say, look, per our requirements, you just don't meet the qualifications to have a gun legally in Ohio. And I think that's a good idea. And this all sounds good. Back to Brother Powell's point. This sounds real good. We all know what to do, but what is really going to happen? We shall see. Good morning to you. See me back up here. I want to greet the choppers. See, Pamela was first inside the chop shop. She writes, good morning, all. Followed by Kiki. She writes, great risings, Mr. Ivy and the choppers. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and the choppers. Hey, good morning to everybody. Thank you for being here. Ray writes, good morning, all. Mike Davis writes, rise and shine, young stars. Deborah writes, good morning, Nate and the choppers. Pat writes, good morning. Kelly writes, good morning. CJ writes, good morning. Erica's in the house. She writes, good morning. Sarinthia writes, greetings and salutations. Good morning to you. John #Glorious writes, good morning. Cobra Commander address gun violence. Well, who's Cobra Commander? Who are you talking? Are you talking about Mike DeWine? Or are you talking about Donald Trump, who is coming to Dayton? Yes, he's coming to Dayton. But the mayor of Dayton says that when he comes to Dayton, she's going to have some words with him. She's going to tell him something. I'm going to tell him all about himself when he comes to Dayton. When he comes to Dayton, he's going to get an earful. Yeah, that's what Nan Whaley said. That she's going to express to Donald Trump just how disappointed she is in his comments. I mean, when are we going to stop trying to tell this man how disappointed we are in his comments? It is what it is. He is what he is. And I'm sure that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn what Nan Whaley thinks. I mean, you know, she is the governor of a city that's mourning right now. I'm sorry, the mayor of a city that's mourning right now. I get it. In a normal circumstance, you would expect respect. You would expect that. But this ain't normal. This is Donald Trump time. That's anything but normal. And that's exactly how his supporters like it. They like him that way. They wouldn't have it any other way. That's the way they prefer it. Yeah. They like him all crazy, saying crazy stuff, pissing off the Democrats and the liberals. Makes them happy. So Donald Trump's coming to Dayton, as you would expect. He's the president. You should go to where there's been a national tragedy. He's also going to go to Texas, or El Paso, Texas, even though Beto O'Rourke says, don't come down here. Speaking of Beto O'Rourke, within the last 24 hours, Quinnipiac, and those are people that actually do polls. I'm sure you're very familiar with that name. You've read it before. Very smart, well-read people comprise the Nathan Ivey Show listenership, a.k.a. the Choppers, a.k.a. the Cyber Wakandans. We are the best of the best of what Cincinnati Talk Radio has to offer. But in a recent poll, this is interesting. Beto O'Rourke, he's not polling too well. He might not even be on the damn next debates in September. Yeah, things are different now. Within the last 24 hours, you know they had a big Democrat debate last week, right? Back to back, Tuesday and Wednesday night. Well, here are the results. Here are the results. You ready for it? Elizabeth Warren, surging. Now, Joe Biden is still the front runner, followed by Elizabeth Warren and also Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris, she dropped. From what I understand, you got to have at least 2% in an assortment of these polls, polls. And if you don't, then you're not going to meet the threshold to be on the debate stage. And if you're not on the debate stage, then you're going to get forgotten. It's a wrap for you. So say what you want. Joe Biden still is holding strong in those polls, followed by Elizabeth Warren, then Bernie Sanders, and then Kamala Harris, who dropped, and everybody else is like at 1%. I think Pete Buttigieg is at 5% in this particular poll. Everybody else is at 1%. Can you believe that? Yeah, get ready for it. But Trump is coming to El Paso, Texas, whether Beto O'Rourke wants him to or not. Get ready for that. That's hilarious. Tiffany writes, good morning. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers from the Galt family. Actually, thank you. How was Baby Chopper? Yeah. How is she? Hope she's doing well. I love all the Baby Choppers. Dale writes, Centoya Brown is a free woman as of this morning. You're absolutely correct. I'm very happy to hear that. I saw that this morning myself, and I thought, that is spectacular. I love it. Centoya Brown. Here was a young girl, and there was some controversy surrounding her incarceration. Essentially, what she said was that, well, prosecutors said that basically she was turning tricks. That's what the prosecutor said. Basically, she was turning tricks and then got upset at the John and robbed him and killed him. What she claims is that basically she was the victim of sexual trafficking and she had to do what she had to do. And she became a cause celebre, and a lot of celebrities picked up on it, a lot of attention, and she has now, looks like she's now been released. And I guess you can thank Kim Kardashian. I guess she's good for something, huh? Black women are suspicious. Mason Mahler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Tracy writes, what are we doing? Brenda writes, happy Wednesday. Ray's in the house. Pamela writes, would love to see the streaming, but I will shut off when I surf for text. Okay. Well, it'll be up, so you can check out the show. I mean, it's just me and a bookshelf and things like that. But it is a live streaming element. You can check it out. Miss D writes, greetings. CG Dub writes, good morning, Choppers. Dale writes, Tracy, your Avi, is that a flask? Bunky writes, has it been verified that her boyfriend was black? Are you talking about the young woman whose brother killed her in Dayton? On social media, it's been confirmed. I've seen it confirmed on several websites. I mean, but I don't know whatever that means. Mason writes, I need Brother Powell's energy. Good brother. Yeah, he does have a lot of good energy. Dale writes, the news media isn't going to mention it, but it has been confirmed that her boyfriend was black. What these media fools fail to realize, with today's technology, information like that is going to get out there, whether they report it or not, homie, right? In the age of social media, traditional media can't keep up. No one can keep up with that. I mean, when you have the opportunity to just Facebook Live something. So, for instance, there was a shooting that was over in Witten Terrace. News media was going to Facebook. That's how they found out about it. I mean, back in the day, and I still think to this day, reporters, they relied on tips. You know, people would call in and give them a tip. Now people are emailing tips. They're texting tips. They're linking tips. They're tagging tips. There's no media company in the world that can keep up with social media because it's so unpredictable. You never know. Something could happen in Cincinnati and end up with 1 million views. Something can happen in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it can end up getting millions and millions of views. It can become the topic of conversation all over the globe via the internet. Sorrentha writes, I didn't do it from the book. I checked it out on YouTube. Sorrentha writes, where's Angela? I'm not sure. Let me see. What's today? Today is Wednesday, right? As I said, I am going to be perhaps out of town on Thursday and Friday, and I'm going to try to broadcast from where I am. All right. That is my plan. Just a simple hookup, boom, at the hotel, and I can still do my thing. Brian writes, morning, people. Morning, people. My people. Absolutely. Come on in, man. Appreciate you. Ashley writes, baby Chopper's doing great. Walking. What? She walking now? Oh, my God. It's great, man. Brian writes, love the live streaming. Look, Nate, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Brian writes, trying to pick up between just listening or watching and listening. Decisions. Great. Oh, well, I thought it worked, but it's not. I'll stick with Spreaker. I miss Junior's cameo. Well, Lord willing, he'll be back. He'll be back. Well, let's see, not tomorrow and Friday, but Lord willing, he'll be back. Sister V writes, Hotep, beautiful people. Let me see here. I feel bougie, LOL, watching YouTube while chatting on speaker, LOL. That's cool, man. YouTube is where it's at. I like YouTube. I mean, these are just different platforms. And as I told you, I want to bring a video element to everything I do with the Nathan Ivey Show and with Sin Digital Media. All of our shows, I want to broadcast it live on video, stream it so people can watch what's going on and interact if you like. Now, I know in the morning, like audio is probably much more convenient for you because you're traveling. You're traveling. You're going to work. You're doing whatever you're doing. I totally understand it. Dale writes, Lil Jr. getting tall, Nate. Watch out before you know it. He'll be taller than you. I hope he is. I hope he's about 6'8", 6'9". If I can get Junior to 6'8", 6'9", then maybe we can get ourselves a basketball scholarship. You know what I'm saying? He dribbling now. And it's all about the skills. Never know. He might have a talent. Ms. D writes, it takes longer to get through security checkpoints at the airport, too. So the gun rules are essentially the same thing. Wait longer to increase safety. Right. Same thing, Ms. D. I don't mind waiting longer to increase public safety. It's not that serious. So that we don't need high capacity magazines. It doesn't take 100 rounds to kill an animal. It doesn't take 100 rounds to kill some animal out in nature, some deer, whatever the hell people are shooting at, whatever people hunt. Hunting today with all of the today they got these tarps, right? A tarp is like something that a hunter will put over himself to camouflage himself. And they use computers, right, and science to figure out how to confuse the eyes of the animals that humans are hunting. Ain't that some shit? Then they got these pheromones you can spray on yourself. And it mimics like the opposite sex of the deer. So this poor deer thinking he about to get lucky, walking into a massacre, don't even know it. The deer's just out there in nature picking up pheromones. Like, oh shit, something sexy is close. Yeah. And you following the scent, you walk right into a trap. You got two grown-ass men with high-powered weapons under a computer-generated tarp. They don't hear you, so they can't see you. They can't smell you. They got all kinds of stuff out here. These cats will sit there and lay there for 7 hours, man. Under a computer-generated tarp to camouflage you from the pupils of the prey. With a high-powered weapon. You know what I'm saying? Swimming in deer pheromones. And you think this is fair? Yeah, that's fair. That's hunting. You're a real hunter. Way to go, hunter. You out here getting a drop on animals in the animal kingdom. like that makes you a big man. I don't get it. I had a friend and her family were avid hunters. Her son and her husband, they would go out and hunt, like hunt for real, bring the meat back home, butcher it, the whole 9 yards, man. They lived out on a farm. I'm not making this up. Black person. It was a black woman. Now she was married to a white guy. And the white guy was really into the outdoors. They would cabin the whole 9 yards. He's out here butchering deer meat. I'm like, this is real? And she loved it. I mean, I couldn't hate on her because that was her lifestyle. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Beto and Cruz should drop out. Go back to their states and run for Senate. They would make strong candidates. Beto needs to definitely drop out. He never should have got into the race. Cruz, I like Cruz and what he brings to the conversation. But again, unfortunately, it looks like he may not have a real shot. It's going to be slim pickings. Timothy writes, okay. Who is voting in these polls? I swear, don't nobody ask me shit, but I'm always hearing about poll numbers. That's because they rarely get to black people. And their polls are not black people specific. They're not specifically trying to poll the opinions of black voters. Typically, I've seen some polls like that. There was a poll like that recently that was put out about who black Americans supported more as a Democrat candidate. And overwhelmingly, that poll suggested that it was Joe Biden. How's that sit with you? All right, folks, I got to take a little pause. We'll come right back. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. All right, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Live, local, and vocal. All right, during the break, you'll hear Bloomberg Urban Report. Now, some of you might have heard it earlier. I played it a couple times. But for folks who've just joined the stream, I want to make sure you get some real news in real time from my friends over at Bloomberg Urban Report. So check for that. We'll come back and take your phone calls. 513-873-7134.
I'm Joan Doniger. Amazon is looking for the next generation engineer. Its Future Engineer program wants to expand access to high-caliber computer science prep courses, and it focuses on students in lower-income communities and in states that are making computer science education a priority. The idea?
Help them build the skills that they need in order to continue in computer science and then hopefully to engage in a career that integrates technology to whatever field they choose to pursue.
Ardeen Williams is Amazon's Vice President of People Operations. A San Francisco startup that had tried to reshape the business of underwriting bond deals for U.S. cities has fired the executive at the center of a racial discrimination lawsuit. The company's CEO says, however, John Crossman's termination was part of a broader reduction in headcount, not because of the lawsuit brought by a former banker who had complained about the company's racially and sexually hostile environment. And that's your Bloomberg Urban Report. I'm Joan Doniger.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Oh, tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity, something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock where you invest to make money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. I could be the first college graduate in my family, the first district attorney from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there will be a second and a third. This could really be the start of something. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
I'm getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Nate Ivy with you, 513-873-7134, coming to you live and direct from a secret location somewhere in Cincinnati, Ohio, talking about local issues. And everyone's good buddy, Mike DeWine, of course, he's the governor. How the hell did that happen? How did you let that happen? But Mike DeWine is the governor. And Mike DeWine says that, he has a 17-point plan to address what's been happening in the community. And by when I say what's been happening, I mean in particular in the aftermath of the fact that 9 people got shot and killed over in Dayton, Ohio. And authorities still have yet to come out with a reason why. And the media is doing its part to make sure that everybody doesn't believe that it was racially motivated. My thing is, it is what it is. What is law enforcement going to do about it? Speaking of law enforcement, yesterday I got a chance to go over to Roselawn. They got a park over there that's actually like a partnership between the Cincinnati Reds. It's like a baseball academy over there. And are the children in the neighborhood taking advantage of that baseball academy? I don't know. I know there's a playground. I see plenty of people at the playground in the park. I take my son there at least maybe once every couple of weeks. We go over to that park. He loves it. He runs around. He gets on the slide. I push him on the swing. He has a good time. But there's a baseball academy, I guess, with the hope of producing future baseball stars. It's a lot of money in baseball. If I could play any professional sports, it'd be basketball, baseball, and then football in that order. But that baseball money is long and guaranteed, and you're just playing baseball. I mean, of all the sports, the one that seems the less, you can always take a stray ball, a fastball to the dome, right? But aside from being hit by the baseball, doesn't seem like you might get some turf toe or something like that. It ain't like basketball, man. It's not like football. In basketball, you might go up for a dunk, somebody undercut you, boom, you land on your face. You might get elbowed in the face in basketball. Now, is that possible in baseball? Sure, if you're the catcher, or maybe there's a collision in the outfield or something like that. But for the most part, it's big money and less injury. And black kids aren't playing baseball. Got a baseball thing over there. But they had a national night out yesterday. I went over with the family, and it was nothing but police officers over there. My son was ecstatic. He's at 4 years old now, so he's all about police officers. He wants to be a police officer. You know what I'm saying? He's only 4, so I'm not bursting his bubble yet. But what I try to do is redirect and educate, and give him a more realistic viewpoint. But he's all into police officers, and they were giving out backpacks over there, and it was just a social event. And I saw Sister Sandra over there. What up? Shout out to Sister Sandra. Who else did I run into? Seen a bunch of police officers that I'm familiar with. I thought it was somebody else I ran into. I ran into Sister Sandra, and then I ran into somebody else. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, she gonna kill me. I know, I could see her face. Annie Ruth. Ran into Annie Ruth. It's good seeing her. I think of Annie Ruth, and I also think of Toni Morrison, who I'd be remiss in my duties. We've got to give a couple of moments of silence for Toni Morrison, who passed away within the last 48 hours. And, it's people have been talking about her artistry and how she focused on racism. You hear that? Farewell to America's greatest writer. It's Toni Morrison, America's greatest writer. And how many people, raise your hand if you've actually ever read any of Toni Morrison's books, or maybe you didn't read all of it, but you read some of it. How about The Bluest Eye? Right? First ever to win a Nobel Peace Prize in any category in literature. And that was Toni Morrison. She died at 88. 88's a good long life, man. If I live to be 88, that'll double my lifespan. That means I'll have as many years left as I've already lived to this point. And that's a lot, man. I want to live as long and healthy as possible. As long and as healthy as possible, because not healthy living is still better than dying, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Toni Morrison, 88 years old, Nobel Prize winner. And a lot of her work explored the Black identity in America. And in particular, for folks who don't know, she explored the Black identity, the identity of Black women in America. The Bluest Eye. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Obama. And Toni Morrison, R.I.P. She will be missed. She will be missed. And I don't have any Toni Morrison in my personal library. And you know how it is. Now that she's passed away, everybody wants to like get all Toni Morrison, right? Everybody wants to be all Toni Morrison now. I get it. But at the same time, I think the wifey does. I think when I met the wifey, she was reading Toni Morrison. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this up again here. For whatever reason, it's not showing up. Ah, man. Had an image there I wanted to show you. But I'll bring it up here in a second here. Of Toni Morrison. For folks who are like, who is Toni Morrison? What is Nathan talking about? I'm talking about art. Literature. That's what I'm talking about. If you don't know, good morning to you. Brian writes, he's talking to Mason. Cassandra writes, who's voting? I think I read that already. Okay, let me pick up here. Beto sounds like he's about to cry every time he speaks. Yeah, Beto hasn't been able to really capitalize off the whole Trump thing. I don't know. It seems like he was a better contrast for Cruz than he is for Trump. And I see him trying. He's trying real hard. But it's just not working. People ain't feeling Beto. I'm not feeling Beto. BET did it was like an all black debate on black issues. And Beto O'Rourke's answer was pitiful. They asked him a question about black economics. And this mofo he starts telling some anecdote about some black dude he ran into the day before he was actually on the stage. And I'm thinking, what kind of answer is that? So you're a white male Democrat and you're in front of black folks. They ask you a question like, so what's your policies for, black-owned businesses, or what's your policies for black economics? And he starts talking about how he ran into some black guy at a convenience store yet the day before. And he talked to this black guy who's also an entrepreneur. And it just made him realize that black entrepreneurs need more resources. They need more money. They need more capital. We know that. Negro, tell us something we don't know. We got that. That's your answer? I thought it was pitiful. Now, it's only one answer to one question, and who knows? Maybe he was tired that day. Maybe he was sleepy. I don't know. But I just wasn't happy and satisfied with that response at all. It just seems like some bullshit he was just saying on the moment. I don't know about you, but the older I get, the more I can tell when somebody's bullshitting me. And sometimes I let them think they getting it off. I just look at them like, okay, cool. Yes, it's the flow philosophy. Would you have gotten a call if it was a white guy with a deer at John? Oh boy, they're going back and forth. Dale writes, the Democrats need to get younger, but Beto isn't. But isn't it? The Dems gotta reclaim the House in 2020 because of Trump dumbass is helping to make that happen. But the Democratic Party seriously needs a revamp and start growing these younger potentials, and all these old ass retreads needs to hang it up and step aside. I think that Daryl is he is vocalizing. He is amplifying and sharing something that's really, really real. There's a lot of folks that feel that way. And I think you're absolutely fucking right. 100%. I agree with you. We need more AOCs. Yeah, we need more of that. We need more squads. We need more of those kind of candidates. If they're females, they're females. But we need more progressive candidates that can talk the language of the 21st century, but understand the politics that people really care about. Clue Magic writes, I read Beloved in high school or college. You read Beloved. Okay, yeah, a lot of folks was into Beloved. And there was a movie that was made out of it. It's a very strange. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, let me see. Beloved. What was Beloved about? I can't even remember, quite honestly. I believe I read it. Not read it, but I believe there was a movie about it. If there wasn't a movie about it, I'm thinking about Daughters of the Dust then. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. 5 essential Toni Morrison books you need to read. This is from the USA Today. Beloved, 1987 classic about slavery and its aftermath. The Bluest Eye, which is her first title and continues to be one of her bigger ones, her biggest title to date. Song of Solomon, Sulua, and Paradise. How many people have all those books and or have read a little bit of all those books, or you're aware of those books? If so, you're a good American. You're a good African American. Better than me. Cerinthy writes, Beloved was about him touching her on the inside parts. Oh, okay. There is history connected to Toni Morrison close to where I live in Boone County. That's John #Glory. It's good to see you, hashtag. Good morning to you. Good morning. If you're leaving comments on YouTube and you're leaving comments on Facebook, I want to make sure I get a chance to read them. If you want to share your thoughts, you can do so real easily at 513-873-7134. And of course, we know that the brother that called in earlier was absolutely correct. Somebody writes, Oprah, my wife loves her books. That's Anthony. TNT writes, good morning. A lot of folks on Facebook page right now. You can check it out. I'll try to read those comments as they come in. Yeah. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. That's the number you can use if you want to share your thoughts this morning. Real easy to do so. Matter of fact, let me share this inside the friends page as well, because I want people to make sure they see the stream if they're into it. The Democrats need to be, okay, I got that. I read that. Democrats need to be younger, he says. I agree with you. The Democrats do need to get younger. Yeah. But yeah, it's the truth. You know, one of the things about Biden's is people saying he's too damn old. Now, is he too old to lead? I don't think he's too old to lead, but I think what they're saying is that he don't know, he's not in touch with what's going on and what's going to be going on. And then the other thing is that Biden has been in Congress so long, they look at him as a creature. He's like part of the problem. He's looked at as part of the problem. I saw an expert this morning. He was on local news, and this guy was like a Navy SEAL or some shit like that. Real hardcore military guy, right? And they were asking him like what you should do if there's an active shooter, situation. And, it's always great to hear from experts. But I thought what he said was pretty obvious. He said the number one thing you should do is run. You should try to get the hell out of Dodge. You hear shots going off, run in the opposite way of the shots. Now, if you can't do that, he says you should hide. You can't run, active shooters coming your way, hide. And lastly, he says, if you can't run and you can't hide, then fight. Now, again, in no way would I ever look down on the experience of a veteran. But I think we all intrinsically know that shit, right? I told my daughter the same thing. You got to tell, are you talking to your kids about what goes on in their high school? Are you talking with the administration about what's going on at the school? Are you using things like, well, what are you doing to prevent an active shooter situation at this particular school? That's what we should be talking about right now. I don't know if Laura Mitchell has released a statement. Because, CPS don't do that kind of shit. To me, CPS has a real communication problem. They really do. They don't communicate what they should. And in particular, my daughter's school does not communicate what they should. I mean, if there's like a potato salad bake sale or potato salad potluck for the 7th grade, oh, you'll get a deluge of information. But let's say, for instance, they got a teacher that's removed and arrested because of sexual advances on minors. You'll get no message whatsoever about that shit. You'll get no message whatsoever. But they'll tell you about every bake sale, every opportunity to volunteer. Oh, you get all of that. If a 7th grader gets a perfect on the ACT, oh, it'll be national news. Are our schools safe? We're 2 weeks away from the return of school. Are the schools safe? Because what we know is that there's a copycat mentality going on. See, somewhere out there right now, there's a young person, probably a young white male, who is upset. And this young person is upset with their mother or their father or someone who's abused them or neglected them. And this young person is looking to make a splash. They want to make a splash by killing a lot of people. Nobody cares about me. I don't care about you. That kind of stuff. Nobody cares about me. I don't care about you. Yeah. I mean, what are we doing to address that? I'd like to know. 513-873-7134. Governor Mike DeWine calls for gun background checks and a red flag law in the wake of the Dayton mass shooting. Is that right? Yeah, this guy right here. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, that's our mayor, right? I'm sorry, that's our governor right there, Mike DeWine, white male Republican. If you're watching the stream, you could check out just a screen grab from an article. And I've been running through the 17-point plan. A lot of this stuff, I think everybody's going to agree with, Democrat and Republican. I'd say the vast majority of it, everyone's going to agree with, Democrat and Republican. Basically, we need to set up a system so that we can see red flags. And we also need background checks, more extensive background checks. And if you're mentally ill and you're exhibiting signs of mental illness, then your family members should be able to call a number and get somebody to come and do an investigation into you. And if they find out that you are not qualified, you are not mentally stable enough to own and possess a firearm, they're going to take it from you. You're going to lose your Second Amendment ability. And I agree with it. And I'll tell you why. Because we live in an age in which one person, mind you, can get a weapon, and that one person can kill a lot of people very, very quickly. Okay? Back in the day when the good old boys, slave owners, by the way, when George and them boys, Thomas and them boys came up with their form of government, slave owners, by the way, that one individual didn't have the ability to cause that much destruction by themselves. But see, nowadays, man, they got these high magazine cartridges, man. Let me put one of these up on here so you can see what we dealing with here. I want you to check this out. Check this out right here, up on the screen. Now, what are you going to deal with? How are you going to deal with somebody that walks into a situation with something like that? That's like straight out of Hobbs and Shaw. That's like from the first Predator, man. That's the same magazine round that the character that Jesse the Body Ventura played in the first ever Predator, like the classic one with Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had that. They were shooting aliens, man. Camouflage aliens, supercharged, super high tech, and that's what they were using. If you're a normal, everyday, average citizen and you're out here just hunting, you don't need that. But let's go to the phones. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Nate?
What's going on? What's up?
Yeah, man, my name's Anthony.
You said Anthony?
Yeah, I'm the guy who was posting on the Facebook here.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Anthony?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, like I put on there, I don't know if you read it. I own several guns, from handguns to rifles. You know, I was in the service. I was brought up hunting. So, you know, I'm part of that gun community you're talking about. I mean, I got no problem with, you know, longer waiting periods. I ain't gonna die if I can't walk out the store with my gun today. It ain't, you know, it ain't gonna kill me. I can wait. You know, my thing is with the red flag laws, they definitely need to make sure that they don't come knocking on my door over some bogusness. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody who got a grudge against you can call and say such and such, and then here you go, got 5-0 at your door. You know what I'm saying? It has to be legitimate. They have to, and if it's found out it wasn't legitimate, that person who called on you need to pay a penalty. Just like we talk about exes talking about, you know, they dude or the girl hit them or something. It's usually the first one to the phone can get the other one in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you're saying that this system could be abused, basically.
It could be abused. Anyway, anything that's controlled by man can be abused. You know, and I got, you know, when it comes to taking somebody's rights from them or restricting somebody's rights, you definitely want to make sure that you know, it's legit. And then regulating I'm a law-abiding citizen. You know, I don't bother nobody. Ain't nothing on my. They can check my social media. I ain't got nothing about talking about shooting the president, nothing like that, or whatever. But anyway, you know, so I should be able to buy whatever I want to buy with my money. You know, so I don't get a 100-drum magazine because, one, they're not reliable, really. Two, I don't live in an area where I could use it. If I lived out west somewhere where I could, like Nevada, Texas, or somewhere like that, Arizona, I can just go out the desert and let go, I probably would. Just for the fun of it. Like I said, to me, it's fun. It's just like any other hobby that anybody else has. You know, and also in that post, I don't know if you read it, you know, people, I think the high speed limit in the states right now, some states might go 85 or whatever, but we still have the ability to buy cars that go 200 plus if you got that kind of money. So, you know, why should I be regulated because of what a few people do? We say the same thing about the black community. You got a few of us who, if you go by some other people's standards, make us all look bad. But we don't feel that we should all be put in that same pot.
Hey, Daryl, I appreciate the flows, man.
Okay, brother. You have a good morning.
You too, man. Take it easy. So Daryl makes some interesting viewpoints. Says he's a gun owner. Has no problem with doing a background check, but at the same time doesn't want his rights infringed upon. As I said, you know, when a good old boy slave owners that we revere in our culture, because despite what you say, we do revere slave owners. I would ask you, are there any slave owners on Mount Rushmore? And the answer is absolutely unqualified yes. So when those good old boys, the founding fathers, slave owners that we still revere, when they formed this country, one individual by themselves, you had a flintlock and a tomahawk. And you just didn't have the ability to kill a lot of people at one time. Now you do. And because the circumstances have changed, then the laws should change as well to fit the circumstances. As I understand it, that's the way the Constitution was set up. It's organic. It's not set in stone. It's not like the 10 Commandments. It's organic. It's supposed to be open for interpretation and change, to be amended, right? That's why we have amendments to fit the current mores and values in current situations. And currently, one person with a weapon, with body armor, with ear protection, with all the things you would need to go to war, as we know, can kill 9 people inside of 30 seconds. Somebody made this point. That person is very, very smart. They made the point that the real commentary is not that the police responded so quickly. I mean, they're getting a lot of praise and justifiably so. But the real lead is that look how many people you can kill in 30 seconds in 2019. In 1773 or in 1769, whatever the hell the day was, when those founders of this country, many of them slave owners, decided to come together and form this country, you could not do that. One person, the technology did not exist. It wasn't commonplace. Quite frankly, to be honest with you, humans are not ready for that type of technology. It's the reason why the aliens haven't showed up. The aliens can show up anytime they wanted to. You know why they haven't showed up? Us. They don't want to fuck with us. Let's just keep it real. Where are the aliens? Where are the aliens? They're out there. They don't want to deal with us. They don't want to deal with us. I mean, look at what we're doing to this country. Look at what we're doing to the globe. Deforestation, pollution. We're destroying species every single day at a rapid pace. It's being widely reported that the polar ice caps are melting. We're fucking up the habitat of the polar bears. And we don't care. We don't care. Because as long as we can get to what we want in a reasonable amount of time, that's all we care about as humans. You know, this country is a reflection of us and the people that founded it. And we're violent and unstable, on drugs, right? Narcissistic. I mean, to walk into a building and kill a lot of people and you're just some average Joe takes a lot of damn balls. It really does. You're just going to end people's lives because you're up happy. It takes a lot of stones. It really does. 513-873-7134. Or it means that you're cray, because that's the other big talking point that people are pushing back on. It's like, why is it that when white people commit mass shootings, it's always about mental illness? When white people commit suicide, oh man, it's a mental illness. It's mental illness. Oh, mental illness. But when black people commit crimes, oh no, you're just a no good, rotten ass, no good bastard. You ever notice that? Let me check police as well, because I hate when I hear police say this. So for instance, I hear this term being used, senseless violence. To me, what I saw in Dayton and El Paso, that's senseless violence. This stuff that's happening in the hood, there actually is some sense to it. Usually there's some personal relationship, some business relationship, or it's mistaken identity. That makes sense. When some lone gunman kills a lot of strangers, that's what's truly senseless. In Chicago, those people, that no one's saying mental illness in Chicago. Nobody's saying mentally illness in Chicago, but that's exactly what it is. But when a white male commits a mass shooting, oh, mental illness, he must be cray. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Who am I speaking with?
This is Brian.
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hey, nothing much.
What's in your mind this morning, Brian?
Well, I think the last thing you said kind of hits the nail on the head. Hang on, I got to get off the live. Getting repetition. All right. Yeah, the fact that this whole discussion, by and large, and I don't mean what we're talking about, but I mean the national discussion, leaves the elephant in the room untalked about, which is you cannot really get to the heart of what's behind these killings until you address white supremacy. You cannot. Because, yes, some of these individual people might have additional factors like a messed up parent or a bad background, or in actuality, yeah, you can say in broadest terms, somebody who's willing to go out and grab a gun and kill a bunch of people may have some mental issues, but they're motivated by certain things. There's a lot of black people who have been through a life of hard oppression, and quite frankly, because of that condition, hate white people. Now, I had a different experience. I think there's a different enemy than a racial enemy. However, there are people who legitimately, through their experience, hate them some white folks. And they're not going out there blowing people away. We live in a nation where that is white supremacist. That doesn't mean each individual is, but it means that those who ascribe to that and those who come from that are more likely to think that they have a right to your life. And, you know, the rhetoric we hear, the talk about how somehow the white man is being cheated, the white man is losing out, these things feed into people's heads. And with a history that has never been truly atoned for, where we were literally terrorized and killed, until that comes to the fore, and until the nation says it was wrong, what the cops do, you know, there's all kinds of information about these cops who literally are out killing us because they come from these white supremacist groups. Until that wrong to humanity is addressed, it's this question of these killings that happen is not going to be, yes, you might stop the mass character of the killings with one person being able to do it, and I'm not going to go into the I'm not against some regulation. Like if you have a car, you have to learn how to drive. If you have a gun, you should learn how to shoot it. And there should be things to make sure that, you know, I would debate those things and discuss them to have something rational. But it's out of hand. And the last thing I just want to say is, you have a nation that's the only one who's used whose nuclear bombs on people. You have a nation that sends troops all over the world to kill people that's none of their business. You have a country that uses violence to gain riches, and they're trying to tell, you know, some young person that they can't do that on their block. It's hypocritical. And that's all I got, Nathan. But thank you. I'm glad. I haven't got to talk to you really since your show has kicked off. I'm glad it exists, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
All right, Brian. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I believe that's Brian Taylor. Man, appreciate B calling in like that. It's Brian. What do you think about his thoughts? 513-873-7134. Hey, listen, do me a favor. If you're on Facebook, please share this. Please share this stream so people can hear this show. And we're the only black media daily digital show in the mornings here in Cincinnati. And I want you to share that with as many people as you think might be interested. With as many people as you think might be interested. 513-873-7134. Like I told you, tomorrow and Friday, I'm going to be on not vacay. I'm going to be traveling, actually more work. That's how I look at it. So just want to give you a heads up. I'm going to try to broadcast in the morning on Thursday morning and Friday morning, no matter what. Okay. But it is a little bit up in the air, and I just want to say that to you firsthand. So we ain't got no problems. Rest in power, Toni Morrison. My favorite is Songs of Solomon. Cassandra writes, I got a chance to meet her. She was born here in Ohio. Such a beautiful soul. That's right. Telling you, man, Ohioans have so much talent. There's so many people that have made a mark in our culture who were born in Ohio. Be proud. I'll say it again. Oh, thank you so much. Tony, Iris, everybody sharing it. So yesterday I got a chance to listen to, and I've yet to confirm this, but he is willing to come back on the show, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm going to ask him some very tough questions about why the Sentinels no longer have support for Dan Hills. Yeah, Dan Hills is the FOP president. And most recently, there was a press conference held, and the Sentinel's president said that they have no confidence in Dan Hills. They want him to resign. And it was just so interesting because I didn't talk with the Sentinels beforehand. But, I mean, I've gotten things through the grapevine, through media and things like that. So I was able to put together a profile as I approached my conversation with Dan Hills going back maybe a month ago when he was on the show. And so I did that with intentionality. I knew exactly what I was doing and where I was trying to lead to. And it was very interesting that, you know, I challenged Dan Hills about whether he was a positive change agent, you know, from his position within inside of the city or even law enforcement, the Cincinnati Police Department. And he swore up and down, oh, yeah. Well, not really. He tried to like shuck and jive really and dance around a little bit. But when I heard that the Sentinel's president was actually, and when I heard that the Sentinel's president came out and basically said that Dan Hills was not a positive change agent, that he felt like he was biased against black people. And when I asked Dan Hills those questions, he got mad at me. So I think it's completely now fair to circle back around because the Sentinels are comprised of people who are part of the FOP, and they're saying he's doing a terrible job and needs to leave. And I want to get his thoughts on it. You know, he was going after Iris Rowley. Somebody sent me a link to a local podcast in which Dan Hills was on this week. He was on a podcast either yesterday or the day before. And, I mean, the things that he was saying, see, this goes back to lazy-ass talk show hosts. And this is the reason why when Dan Hills came on the Nathan Ivey show, he thought it was Gotcha Radio. And the reason why he thought that, in part, was because people like, you know, Brian Thomas and others who do local radio shows here, they're so biased, you know, when it comes to Dan Hills, that it ends up being a love fest. Oh, I love you. Oh, no, I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh, no, I love you, right? It's like a love fest. Each one kissing each other's ass instead of keeping it real. And so I listened to this interview, man. It was the most pathetic interview that I've ever heard. That's why I say anybody that's repping Brian Thomas as some kind of talk show host is either kissing his ass because you want to get on the show and want to be cool with him, or you don't know what good radio is. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm listening to him. He's just like leading him. Well, isn't that what the police are supposed to do? You're supposed to do that, right? Aren't you? And this is what you call media? Only time Brian Thomas gets tough is when you're talking about black people or Democrats. That's it. That's it. Like every other white male on that radio station. I don't know. People continue to endorse it, though. They continue to endorse it. I thought it was quite interesting. Hold on. I got like a little bit of I got a window open here in the studio. As you can see, there's a lot of sunlight coming straight in now. I need to close that blind real quick, and I'll come right back. But that gives us an opportunity to also take a quick break. What is it, 8:30? Yeah, take a quick break, you know, as we move forward as well. So I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out the stream. And we'll be right back. Stay close. Don't go anywhere. We'll pick up the conversation, and we'll talk about what's happening right now. And we'll pick back up in our conversation about Dan Hills. I might even play a little bit of the audio clip. Nah, check that. I ain't repping that fool. No. It was the weakest argument. I mean, it was the weakest interview I've heard in a long time. That's not a good interview. You're checking out the Nathan Ivey Show. See you right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Joan Doniger. Amazon is looking for the next generation engineer. Its Future Engineer program wants to expand access to high-caliber computer science prep courses, and it focuses on students in lower-income communities and in states that are making computer science education a priority. The idea?
Help them build the skills that they need in order to continue in computer science and then hopefully to engage in a career that integrates technology into whatever field they choose to pursue.
Ardeen Williams is Amazon's vice president of people operations. A San Francisco startup that had tried to reshape the business of underwriting bond deals for U.S. cities has fired the executive at the center of a racial discrimination lawsuit. The company's CEO says, however, John Crossman's termination was part of a broader reduction in headcount, not because of the lawsuit brought by a former banker who had complained about the company's racially and sexually hostile environment. And that's your Bloomberg Urban Report. I'm Joan Doniger.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably?
It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice, special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Coming to you live and direct, live from a secret location. Welcome back, Nathan Ivey with you. This is the Nathan Ivey Show, nathanivey.com. Sin Digital Media, new urban voice in Cincinnati. I want you to go over to Facebook right now and like and share our page. Check out our podcast. Check out the Truth to Power podcast hosted by the Cincinnati NAACP. A lot of people saw that last stream they did with Tracy Hunter. Also, check out the Is It Just Me podcast with Danietta Bailey, Donnie B. Is It Just Me? You ever look at the news and think, is it just me? No, you're not alone. You're not alone. Check out the Hot Mic podcast hosted by myself and PG Sittenfeld. We chop it up on local issues. And coming soon, a brand new podcast called The Dope Chick Collective. That's right. Two dope chicks talking about issues that matter to them and in particular matter to black females. and many more podcasts and many more media, much more media to follow. Follow this stream. Follow us over at Sin Digital Media. If you haven't already done so, you can like me at Nathan Ivy Show as well. That's my Facebook page. I got a personal page and then, of course, a show page like everybody else. Good morning to you. Welcome back. Good morning. Somebody writes, Biden the bigot. Biden the bigot? Is that what we doing now? We calling people bigots? Okay, so this morning we've been discussing numerous things, including, here it is. We've been talking about gun violence. We've been talking about Mike DeWine, who is the governor of Ohio, and what is he going to do, if anything? Are you satisfied with what you hear? He has a 17-point plan that includes, I think, some ideas that people can really get behind, including background checks. People are calling it the red flag law. I'm taking your comments on multiple platforms. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on Twitter via Periscope, Nathan from Cincy. We're streaming live straight to YouTube, Nathan Ivy Show. You can check it out. Wherever you like to be, check it out. Reading your comments. David writes, checking it out, brother Nate. Thank you so much, David. JC writes, certain media push this idea that America is changing for the worse because its color is changing. And they have been ratcheting this up on radio and certain TV channels for a couple of decades. 65 to 70% of Americans are white, and these folks are panicking. Imagine in 2045 when that drops to 49% of the population, and here comes a snake oil salesman president who weaponizes that panic. You know, JC is on point. JC is on point this morning. Yeah, that's exactly what Donald Trump did. He weaponized race because he had nothing else to talk about. I mean, Donald Trump has no real substance to anything he's done. He's just picking up on old hatred and running with it. And it worked. It worked with Obama. I want to say this again. The questions about Obama's birthright and his citizenship was a racist Southern strategy that worked. It worked, y'all. And so if you're Trump and you use racism to win, why would you stop now? Yeah, why stop now? Keep doing it. Good morning. This is your morning motivation, your destination for what's going on around the city, around the region, around the nation. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. I plan to stream more. Yeah, somebody said, are you going to do more of these videos? They like them. I plan to stream more. Yes, thank you. TNT writes, right. Don't play that shit. Exactly. I'm reading comments from, see, Marlon's in the house. Good morning to you, Marlon. John writes, the YouTube stream sounds really good. Great. And it's going to sound and look even better. We're just getting started. Good to see you. Are you going to have any coverage of Trump in Dayton today? My plan is not to go to Dayton today. So the coverage I'll get will not be directly, from my own devices. I'll be watching it like everybody else. Potato salad bake sale. Right. Right. Oh my God. I know that was a big contradiction there. Parents must go to the PTSO meetings. That's where you get a majority of information. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But, you got to have good actors as well. I mean, the only way that parents can be successful is if there are people that really want the school and the parents and the kids to be successful that work in the school as well. It's a two-way street. It's not just parents, although parents play the majority of the role because they've reared these children by the time they go to school. But just think about it. When school starts, my daughter spends more time at school than she does with me during the week. She'll spend 8 hours at school. Come home, eat dinner, and after that, it's studying, a little recreation time, then she's in bed. Right? So she spends more time with them than she does with us. So what they do really matters. Mike Davis writes, big up to the Dayton police for their quick response. Great job. Faye Rothstein writes, school shooter Betty White. Drop writes, what is a mass shooting? A mass shooting as a multiple homicide incident in which 4 or more victims are murdered with firearms within one event and in one or more locations in close proximity. The report has been frequently cited by some criminologists and gun rights advocates. Well, everyone's talking about, well, Obama had mass shootings. Yeah, but Obama wasn't trying to incite racist. Obama wasn't inflaming racism. If anything, he was a race apologist. If anything, there's a lot of black people who feel as if Obama was too soft on race. He could have been more militant with it. He could have been more real with it. Obama was soft peddling race because his experience as a biracial man growing up with his grandmother was different perhaps than maybe my experience and your experience. Is he black? Of course he's black. But his approach was, I don't want to inflame anything. You never heard Obama equivocating on these kind of matters. He called out hate. So that's the reason why when you have the president who basically is using the same language as racist, he's saying the same thing as racist, that when there's an incident, a lot of people are going to point toward him. That's what it is. Look, if you're going to use a racist Southern strategy, then you have to bear the brunt and the consequences when somebody takes that racist Southern strategy and actually acts upon it. You know what I'm saying? If you're a leader, you have a responsibility to be calm and poised and to not inflame, a tinderbox of issues already. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest here. In this country, we are basically living on borrowed time. It's a powder keg. It's a powder keg. It's a powder keg because of the extreme inequalities. You got extreme wealth and privilege and extreme poverty. I mean, just here in the city of Cincinnati, within 5 minutes of these two neighborhoods, you would think you've gone from like a downtown area to like a suburban area, and you're within 5 minutes of one another. I could do that in Avondale. I could go to Avondale. I could take you to Avondale right now. We could drive down streets in Avondale, and in no way am I trying to say anything negative to Avondale. But forgive me when I say this. And not just Avondale. There's neighborhoods and streets like this all over the place. But there are certain streets in Avondale that you would not want to live on. If I drove you down that street, you'd be like, hell no. I don't live right here. I could literally get into a car with you, drive you down Reading Road 5 minutes, drive you to a neighborhood that you would love to have a house on. You could blindfold somebody and take them to 2 different spots of Avondale and Cincinnati, and they wouldn't know where the hell they were. Now, how the hell is that even possible? In one neighborhood in Cincinnati. I'm not picking on Avondale, but I'm just saying it's true. There are parts of Avondale that looks like Indian Hill. There are parts of Avondale that look like Hyde Park, which is a really, really, really like sort of ritzy neighborhood. High concentration of money. Big zip codes. And you would not want to be there. But yet, I could take you around the corner. I mean, you would love to be in these neighborhoods. You would love to have a house in some of these streets in Avondale. I could get in the car with you 5 minutes, and you wouldn't even want to open your door. How's that possible in the same neighborhood? Let's go to the phones and welcome in John. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivy, and the people of Cincinnati, as well as the people around the world, and yes, the choppers. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, John. You sound a little bit, I don't know, you're not on speaker and you're not on Bluetooth, correct?
No, well, I'll tell you what, let me switch areas again.
Here we go.
I think I realize the problem is my room, the signal where I'm at is not too good, so I have to switch locations. Bear with me a second as I go outside, which has a better signal. I apologize about that.
It's all good, man. It's all good. I appreciate you giving a damn to give us a call. But what is on your mind this morning, John?
Yes, as we listen to the flows and your chatter and flows this morning, interesting flows, and you talked about, before we get to El Presidente in the White House, and the politicians in the Congress and the Senate, I think you mentioned something. I don't know if somebody sent in an email or chimed into you calling Biden a bigot. I don't know what that meant. Was that an article that came out or somebody?
That was a comment.
One of the choppers.
Yeah, that was one of the choppers. One of the choppers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe somebody, it was an article or something. I wanted to see that article. Well, if that's the chopper's opinion, I don't have a problem with that. But whoever that was that wrote that in, he or she is on kind of the right path. Biden has a track record he's been in the Congress and the Senate for over 40 years, too long. You know how I feel about him and Bernie, go away, go away. He has a track record. And if we go back in time, if people remember, when Barack Obama was running, he was one of the candidates up there. He bailed out when he saw he wasn't going to win. But he made some negative statements about Barack Obama. And we know how he feels about the gun laws and different politicians 40 years ago, pointing out some of the Republicans, he calls himself a Democrat, some of the Republicans that he backed with some of the things during that time. So, yeah, he's kind of, much as he's on, whoever the chopper is, they're kind of on a path. When you do dirty, when you do wrong, your stuff comes back to bite you, and I think it's catching up with biting now. As much as these stupid polls, and you know how I feel about the stupid polls, they're only set up to brainwash the masses. I don't follow polls. They're a joke. And most of the time when these elections come down, the polls are way off the mark, and we already know that. So, Biden, he's going to fizzle out. It's a long way to go. We know that. A long way to go between now and next year. And this time, summer next year, if Biden is still standing, the people will make their decision across the country. He will drop out when it comes to that convention, him and Bernie. And as much as people don't think a woman president is not going to happen, if you want to follow any stupid polls, look at Elizabeth Warren just creeping up from the back all the way up.
She is.
She stays on point. She don't point fingers and yell and fight. She talks about the issues, and the other candidates don't get that. She stick with the issues and what she's going to do. And if she gets in there, we'll hold her accountable as much as I like her. But I told you how I felt about her for the last 2 years. And I think the bottom line is, unless something mysterious happens, like Republicans get dirty the last minute, or some of the Democrats get dirty to attack her, she will be standing. Now, we shall see. It's a long way to come before that. All right, let's get to...
So you're saying, you're making your prediction that at the end of the day, it's going to be Elizabeth
Former Vice
Warren.
President Joe Biden answered...
I will bet you a dinner in Cincinnati, Ohio, at your favorite restaurant. You can bring the
question about who he was considering for a potential running mate by saying there are 4 women not running who are qualified to be president. Biden told
nomination next year. You will see. I see the tea leaves, and if you don't see the tea leaves, then
so
all right,
if I lose, I take you to dinner to my favorite restaurant in Cincinnati. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, okay. We can twist that around. Yes.
If I win, you take me to dinner. Perhaps me and the wifey and the kids. And if I lose, I take you to dinner. Is what you're saying?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's do that, John. I'll take you up on that then, man.
All right, Choppers. Mark that on your schedule. You're hearing it from John from Princeton, and Nathan Ivey has crossed paths with me. The bet is on. We shall see. All right, let's get to the rat in the White House and the Congress. Everybody is up in arms. Everybody's holding hands and singing praises and song. Come on, how many times we've gone down this circle with the guns and everything, and how many times the idiot politicians, most of them are on vacation. You think they're going to come off a vacation to deal with this mess? No, they're not going to do that. They're home with their wifey or with their girlfriends on the side, or doing dirty dirt, or collecting that paycheck underneath the table. Lobbyists, this is smoke and mirrors. This gets traction with the media. When the funeral is over a week or 2 from now, it's back to business as usual. Come on. They don't want to fix the problem. They don't want to touch it because they don't want to mess with the NRA, the lobbyists, the gun lobbyists, and let them try to go up into the mountains and try to get these assault weapons from these white boys. Yes, most of these white boys commit these crimes. They let them try to go up there with the stormtrooper. Remember David Caress and the Texas assault? You know, they were sending a message. Well, the Clintons was back then sending a message to David Caress, but they won't go up there and mess with them white boys. Well, David Caress's story. Some of you choppers, I want to research that. That was a different situation. He had a cult religious group, and he was marching from his compounds out there in Texas, and he would go into town and pick up, and the feds was right in town. They could have picked him up anytime they want, but they didn't pick him up. They set the scenario to let David Caress go back to his compound. They'll send the tanks in there. You know what Clinton did during that time. I sort of looked that up.
Right.
Sent the tank in, stormed the place, killed half of the people. Some of the people were smart enough, the ones that were smart to come out, and burnt the whole place down. And I forgot who was the attorney general. I forget her name. I think she passed
Janet
away.
Reno.
Janet Reno, yes.
Yeah.
Janet Reno, she didn't want to do anything, but Clinton and his administration put pressure on her. You got to do something. What should I say? The Republicans was, you better do something. Go in there and get those people out of there. It's rape going on. He's raping the young kid. None of that stuff happened. Cut it out. You know.
Right.
So they go after who they want to go after, who they don't want to go after. They don't want to go after. So choppers, don't look for this gun lobbyist stuff. Even if they come up with factless, stupid bills, which will go no place, the bottom line is take the damn guns away from everybody. And even take guns from the law enforcement. Okay, law enforcement can keep their guns when they're on duty, and when they get off duty, they better not have those guns, or they can be convicted or brought up for trial. But so, you know, you don't want to take the guns away. Then if you don't want to take the guns away, then you might as well call, hey, play that song, The Wild Wild West, because that's what it is, The Wild Wild West. And this is only going to get worse. It's not going to get changed. And you're going to see more shooting. We've been down this path, this merry-go-round many times. You're not going to take the guns away. It's the Wild Wild West. And maybe, Mr. Nathan Ivey, you can explain to me why in certain states, from Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, across the board, they got different laws than these northern states. It's insane. Is this America, or is this a third world country? I think it's a third world country, but that's another debate another time. But these laws are factless in this country. The northern states cannot pack and carry, but the southern states can pack and carry. Or even if you're in a northern state and you got your gun, it better be packed. It better be locked up, packed, and the cartridge better be out of the holster. But if you get pulled over and you leave in the northern states like New York and you're driving south and a Maryland cop pull you over and they want to know where the gun is at, if you got a gun, what kind of country is it? Well, we already know what kind of country it is. It's a racist, violent country that have laws for the white boys and what they're saying to black people. They don't want you packing, carrying. They only want white people to pack and carry, but not black. But I'm saying, okay, black people, if you're not going to turn the guns in, then you better pack and carry, because this is going to only get worse. And where is the shooting going to happen next? To be continued. Any comments, sir?
Well, no comments, man. Thanks for the call, John. Appreciate the flows.
Yes, sir.
Yep, most deaf. It's John checking in. He didn't give us a history. Well, he kind of gave us a history lesson. You know, John he has to bring us heathens. He says, somebody's saying about feedback on Spreaker. Sorry to hear that. Hold on. I think Brian sent me a message here. It's coming up now. Sorry about that. I'm not sure. I have to check it after the show. Let me get back to this. So as you can see up on the screen here, in a new poll, Biden leads 2020 Democrats while Warren surges. So Kamala Harris, everybody made a big deal out of her interactions with Joe Biden and then with Tulsi Gabbard. She actually dropped 5, 6, 7 points. Bernie Sanders still holding strong. What does this say? What does this say? Who's in these polls? Who are they talking to? I didn't get a phone call. Matter of fact, I take that back. I got a phone call 2 days ago from they purportedly were some kind of pollsters. And when they called me, I was right in the middle of something and I couldn't talk to them. I said, listen, call me back, because I wanted to hear it. And I wanted to hear who the poll was and what they were asking for. And they were like, well, you're a member of the media? And I was like, well, listen, call me back. And they were doing a poll. I don't know if that was a non-qualifier or a disqualifying question, because, like, if you're a member of the media or something like that, they may not want to get your opinion because they think you might be biased. But if you're a member of the media, you vote too. And I'm like, look, call me back and we can pick it up. So I have started receiving a lot of calls to certain numbers, not to my direct cell phone, but to another line that I have. And it's quite interesting because it's that time. It's that time. I have done polls in the past, though. I have received messages. They'll call you and say, look, do you want to do a quick poll? Sometimes usually it's automated. And you just kind of press the button and you say yes or no, and then boom, you're on. But Biden leads the 2020 Democrats. Even though there's a lot of black folks not happy with Biden, they're saying that right now he is in the lead. Brian writes, background checks most definitely will help. But what about the people with clean checks and either getting the weapon for themselves or for other people? These military-style weapons for civilian use has to go. I agree completely. Serenity writes, aren't those the same talking points black folks been saying for years to curtail gun violence in our communities? Yes. No one listened to the voice of reason then, but now ears have inclined to hear because it came from the governor. Oh, okay. No, you're absolutely right. All this stuff has been discussed and debated before. You're right. But we got a moment here, just like with Tracy Hunter. Is anybody talking about Tracy Hunter right now? Tracy Hunter's been incarcerated for what? 2 weeks? And that story was getting millions of views. WLWT had a video from the courtroom. It was the first video that went out that showed what happened in the courtroom. The last time I checked, it had over 1 million views. Now, when WLW gets 1 million views, their sales teams get really happy. Their sales team is really happy. And that means that they can perhaps ask more for their digital advertising because of Tracy Hunter. Is Tracy Hunter going to get any of that money? No. What did Tracy Hunter get? A $30,000 court bill. But that was 2 weeks ago. Now here we are 2 weeks later, and it's on to the next thing. Like yesterday, it was hot. The weather is now a bigger story than Tracy Hunter. I just don't want you to remember. I want you to forget. I don't want you to forget that. Shit is real out here for some of us, man. Some of us got it so easy. We're not in a JC. And the last that was reported was that she might have been getting some retaliatory treatment because of the interactions she was having with some of the other inmates down there. Terrible. We got a call on the line. Let's go straight to it. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
What up, though, Nate?
What up, though?
Shit, everything. Smoking some bomb-ass weed. What you doing?
I'm on the air talking it up, man. Talking about some bomb-ass topics.
Yeah, okay. That's what's up, man. You make a good point about Tracy Hunter. And then I still have to ask, where all of those black people you voted for on city council? Where were they? Where that black police chief at? Where was he? So he wasn't voted for. He was appointed, top flunky cop. So, your vote didn't count. But where was that? Where were they at, man? Where they at now? Where's all of those black people on city council? Where's all those outspoken black people who saw what happened to the woman? Where they at, Nate? Where all of those black judges, black cops? Where they at? You don't know, do you?
I mean, I guess they're at home right now on their way to their job. But if you're trying to say...
They somewhere cashing a flunky ass nigga check. That's what they doing, bro. Yeah, that's exactly what they doing.
They doing the same thing you doing.
You got me fucked up. I don't work for the white man. I don't kiss ass. I ain't making deals.
No, I'm talking about in terms of helping Tracy Hunter.
Well, Nate, I've been there helping. I was helping before she got knocked. I've been there. I'm going to stay there. And I didn't vote for her. That's the most remarkable thing about it. I didn't even vote for her. I was talking to Dwight Tillery, and I got to add him as to the list of you people. Dwight made the comment that he knows that I'm working with the CIA. Now I live in Norwood. I work with the CIA. White man told me to get up on the curb. I got a white baby and
Don't try all that. Don't try all that. Don't try that. Don't try that shit because it ain't gonna work. Don't try to. I'm talking about. Don't try to lump in when that police officer told you to get back on the curb when you was right in front of me.
Police didn't tell me that, man.
You got back on that curb so damn quick. It wasn't so damn quick. So don't try to throw that in there with some other stuff that somebody said you was brought in.
And again,
the CIA or something like that. Don't try to do that.
Nate, I don't know if I was born soon enough or my intelligence honed soon enough. But Chairman Mom couldn't do to me what she did to you. I'm a full man, 100% man. And I ain't got to lie on another man. I ain't got to make something up on another ass man. I don't have to do that. So whatever your mama did to you, she ain't do to me, my king. I'm a grown-ass man, dog. Well, and I would never on no curve or off a curve for a cop to say it or for you to repeat it.
Well,
because it never fucking happened. But I know you want to say
this,
something.
Man. I would say this. We don't need to go through all the history again. Okay, you done?
Ain't no history, bro. It never happened. So let's move on, bro.
Actually, it did happen, and that's why I told you.
I ain't got time for that weak woman shit.
Okay.
It ain't never happened to me, bro.
No, it did happen to you, and I got witnesses. Now, we don't have to go on and on about it. But like I told you, don't try to throw that in there.
That's that Chairman Mom shit.
Hold on. Don't try to throw that in there. You did. They told you to get back on the curb. And the reason I bring that up is not to try to embarrass you, but I bring that up because you talk so much shit, Black Line, about shit that don't matter. I told you this before. Stop wasting my time telling me what you think about voting. No one cares. I don't care. You're a grown-ass man. You 60 years old. If you haven't figured out what you need to do for the community, great. Like you said, you do things in other ways. You should continue doing that. So the conversation about whether your vote matters and all that stuff, man, you sound very, very clueless and childish. It sounds clueless and childish. And then you said Dwight Tillery said you was part of the CIA. Well, I mean, that's Dwight Tillery's opinion. You know, I'm sure he's got a reason why he said that. You know, I can't speak to it. You know, I can't speak to what that man said. But don't try to throw in, you know, the observation I made when we were down at the Hamilton County Courthouse and try to throw that in there, slide that in there. Like, yeah, people keep coming up with a long list of things that are not true. Like what I said was true. I saw it with my own eyes. But let's move on and you can continue.
Well, first of all, I'm going to rebuttal that shit. You're a damn liar. You don't see shit. You ain't see nothing like that. You only said that shit to demean me, just like you said I lived in Norwood. That's two things you said was a blatant ass motherfucking lie. If you would say one thing, you would say two. So let's move on.
Correction. I did say you was living in Norwood. Okay? I was joking with you. I said that from day one. You're right about that. Don't try to slide that in. I don't know why we're even talking about this already. You've already admitted what I said was true. Why are you even talking about this, B? You've already admitted it. I've got witnesses. I got at least one witness. She's already spoken on it. Why don't we move on to some more safer topics? Because this is just a circular conversation. Let's do that.
To see that, bro, because it didn't happen. You ain't have a witness to see that because it didn't happen. But let's move on, Nate. Because like I said, you lied about.
So you don't remember when she left a text inside the chop shop and saying, yep. And what Nate said, I was right there. Yes. I don't even need to call it out because it is real. But I think we should just move on.
But it ain't real, Nate. Because the cop was in the street. I was on the curb when he was talking to me. I was standing next to you. And you know you are not a defiance of no law. None. You will never defy a law. But I'm standing next to you. Your ass wasn't in the street, and I wasn't in the street. So let's move on, Nate. Because that's some whole shit.
It is some whole shit, man. It is some whole shit. I don't know why you just can't admit the truth. And, I mean, it is what it is. And like I said, you talk tough, but in the moment, you fold in like a lawn chair. You fold straight in like a lawn chair, real easy. Just fold you straight up. And that's the reason why I bring that stuff out too, man. So what I would say to you is, if you got all that strength and courage, then go out here and make a difference for the community. Then, if you got all this, you Black Lion or whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, then go out there and make a difference for the community. How about that? That's what
I've already done that, Nate.
We'll continue to do it.
I've been doing that, Nate.
Continue to do it. Do you have anything to talk about?
I've already done that, Nate. Been doing it.
Do you have anything else to talk about?
You talking to the wrong cat telling me what to go do, bro.
Okay, man, I appreciate it. Then the answer is no. You don't have anything else to talk about. But maybe you do. We'll try one more time.
Fat ass gaining weight. I was in the streets banging, bro.
Okay.
I'm a keep banging. When you sing behind the desk, talk.
I hear what you're saying, man. I know. And I appreciate the call. I get it. You have feelings about me telling the people the truth. You know, You know when you punked out in front of me, I was going to run back and tell everybody because you talk too tough. So stop punking out when it really matters. You put up a video where you punked out with the officer, went down to the police. I'm not sure what it was called. I think they've got a memorial downtown. You went down there, punked out, talking so nice to the officer. Yes, sir, please. No, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Mister, no, sir. Then you want to come talk to black folks all crazy, man. We don't have time for that. We got real more important issues to talk about. So again, I don't want to talk about whether you voted or not because it don't matter. It don't matter now. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Good morning. Thank you for that, Brian. I got your message. Anybody else having the same issue? Let me know. D Wizzle writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. I know the vet's advice seems basic and simplistic, but simple steps are easy to remember in chaos. The interview posted about the black guy standing outside the club in Dayton said after he heard shots and 7 bodies drop, others stood there in shock, and he had to urge them to move their feet and run. I could see that happening. Clue Magic writes, they won't listen until a white boy says to Corinthia, like it's his grand, great idea, right? I think that's part of it, Clue and Corinthia. You're right about that. Because, you know, the people that live in these neighborhoods are the people that you should be asking for like, you know, like if you're really trying to address gun violence in certain neighborhoods, then to me, the best information, the best ideas would come from the neighborhoods. Because when you've got skin in the game and you care more, you're going to come up with more thoughtful answers. You're going to try to get to the root of the issue and things like that. And when you don't, you still might care, but you're just not close enough to really give the kind of feedback and suggestions that are practical for that particular milieu, right? But that's not what's happening. And part of this is the fact that we had this national tragedy. You know, within minutes of one another, you had shootings on different parts of the country, one in the South and one in the Midwest. And so because of that, and it's current, then Mike DeWine's going to try to come out and do what politicians do. He's trying to come up with something to address it. That's why he was elected governor, to address these kind of issues while he's in the governor's house. And that's just what it is. But I agree with you. None of that stuff that I read to you earlier, Governor DeWine's 17-point plan, none of that stuff is necessarily like something that people haven't heard before. A phrase I like to use, it ain't rocket science. None of that shit is rocket science, right? All right, 513-873-7134. All right, check out the screen right now. I want you to check this out. I'm a big fan of, I'm a supporter of Robin Thede. Robin Thede is a black female, and she's a comedian. She's got a brand new show called A Black Woman Sketch Comedy Show. I'm sorry, it's called A Black Lady Sketch Comedy Show. And she had a show it was a late night talk show on BET. Only black female doing late night talk. And it was comedy and it was current. It was kind of like The Daily Show, but from a black female's perspective, right? With intentionality. And she's back now with A Black Lady Sketch Show. And I know people love to laugh. You got to disengage sometime. Laughing is healthy, quite honestly. People forget that. Laughter is healthy. Sleep, laughter, good food, good companionship, good culture. All things are very, very healthy for human development. So I'm going to check this out, and I'll give you a report back as to how good it is. I think it's going to be tight. I saw some of the trailer. It looked pretty good. It's all black ladies doing sketch comedy. When did you hear something like that? I've never seen that before. Last time we saw something like that, black and sketch comedy, was, guess what? That I can remember was in Living Color. I'm sure there might have been some other shows, but that was the last really good black sketch comedy show in Living Color. It was so culturally relevant. It was so enmeshed with hip-hop culture that in and out of the breaks, they had the fly girls that would be dancing to popular hip-hop songs, right? They had immersed all of this stuff together. And now Robin Thede is doing her thing. And I want to give her some support. I'm sure it'll be great. Her show on BET, I thought, was really good. I was upset when they got rid of it. I'm like, why are you getting rid of this show? It's a great show. All the shit I think is good always gets canceled. So either I don't have good taste or America doesn't have good taste. And I know what I think. I think America don't have good taste. He's just telling you. Drop writes, Mike Davis writes, August 6, 1945, U.S. drops atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah, that was Brian Taylor that made the point that the United States was the only country to ever drop and use nuclear weapons. And I saw a documentary about what happened in Hiroshima, and literally about 100,000 people were what they call vaporized. The only thing that was left of them was carbon, was like a carbon shadow that was atomic blasted into the concrete that was next to him. So for instance, it's August 6, 1945, and there's a man standing right next to a concrete wall. And as I understand it, if you go to Hiroshima today, you can still see some of the images of the carbon atomic blasting aftermath of what happens to a human body. So there are people that were standing next to like concrete walls, and the only thing that was left of them afterward was just like a carbon shadow of their body that was atomic blasted, you know, into the concrete that was standing right next to them. And the United States was the only country to ever use it. Yeah. And people say it was justified because it ended a war. Clumagic writes, yeah, John Trump had the Space Force keeping the alien invasion in check. The aliens don't want to mess. Why would the aliens want to mess with us? I mean, give me one reason why an intelligent race, interdimensional, interplanetary, intergalactic, wherever the fuck they come from, why would they want to come all the way to Earth to fuck with the dumbass humans? Why would they want to do that? All we gonna do is fuck shit up, infect them, much like we did the Native Americans. Wait, why would a new civilization want to make contact with us and Donald Trump is our president? I mean, I'm being dead serious here. I'm being dead serious. If I was an intelligent race, I might wait a little while to contact humans. Y'all might not be ready yet. Just think about it. Why would I ever want to do that? You're an intelligent race, and you have developed the ability to leave your world to go to other worlds. And you're going to come to Earth where we as humans are killing one another and destroying the Earth. And you want to come here and be friends with us. What do we have to give another alien race? Flowers? Smallpox? I mean, just think about that. For sci-fi people, you know, alien people to think about this kind of stuff. That's the aliens are here. They don't want to deal with us. If you were an alien race and you sat back and looked at the nature of human beings, why would you ever want to reveal that you have more power or more resources? Because you know our greedy ass is just going to try to take it. Try to come up with some rationale to make whatever they have ours. It'll probably be fear-based. Human beings aren't ready to meet intelligent beings. We just aren't intelligent enough to meet intelligent life, quite honestly. That's just my theory. I could be wrong about it. 513-873-7134. We just straight up ain't intelligent enough to meet other intelligent races. They would be disappointed in us, in my humble opinion. Ray writes at Nathan, Chicago, no one is also saying guns are flooded into the neighborhoods in the same manner as the drugs. But the folks the community pay to protect them. By the folks the community pays to protect them. That's what I heard from a friend, right? That law enforcement was involved with it? Sad to say, but it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me, Ray. Brian writes, how will it affect those people who own these military-style weapons if they couldn't own them anymore? It wouldn't. They will just say, it's my right, get over it. They don't need them. You want them. Man, Americans are not giving up their guns. We're too afraid. We're too afraid to give up our guns. We're too afraid that the shit that we did to other people is going to come back to bite us in a you-know-what. That's what it is. We're way too afraid. We're too fearful. Way too fearful. And that's why the aliens don't want to F with us, man. They could come down here and give us technology, but what would we do? If the aliens came to Earth and gave us technology, and met with Donald Trump, like, think about that. So the aliens come from a different galaxy, planet, universe, dimension. And they meet with Donald Trump. Self-serving, narcissistic, racist, sexist, habitual liar Donald Trump. Does that seem like a good recipe for a first meeting with another so-called intelligent race? I don't know about you, but now that I say that, I don't want him to represent me. You know, I feel the same way about Donald Trump as I do Supreme Court justices. All right, I'm hearing I'm getting super static on all platforms, so I need to address that. But I'm going to make a move here and end the show. Like I said, I've been going 2 hours here, starting at 7 to 9 all week, and I'm going to continue to do so. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll catch up real soon. But just think about those flows. I mean, I just want you to think about it. Just think about that for a second. Like, okay. Just think about that for a second. Like, really, just think about that for a second. Like, Donald Trump is going to represent us when the aliens come. For the very first time, we're meeting a species for the first time, and this is our representative. What's he going to try to do, cut a deal? He's going to try to cut a deal so that he can manufacture his cheap-ass clothes in their dimension or some shit like that? Is he going to hit on the female of the new species? It would just be terrible. It would be terrible. Pat writes, birthday Eve for me will be 65 and still kicking it. Bless sister. Well, happy birthday Eve to you, Pat. And it was great seeing you recently. And I'll be back tomorrow morning. And we'll chop it up. Iris writes, good morning, great people. Good morning to you. Let's see here. She says, Iris is in the house. She writes, good morning. She writes, I will be at City Hall this evening at 5:30 evening session, asking for someone to do something about FOP president. Please join me if you can. That's a damn shame, man. I did hear that, Iris. I'm not sure how much of the show you heard. Let me see. Yeah, people talking about the audio there. My apologies on that. I'm not sure what it is. But thank you so much for being here. I will be back tomorrow morning bright and early. Remember, take care of yourself. And we will catch up real soon. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time on the Nathan Ivey Show. We will chop it up. We'll be talking about people, politics, and pleasure from one man's perspective. Have a great day. And we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.